Good morning once again. So let us start and discuss about arrays. So almost we have done with the one-dimensional arrays. What's new, which is introduced in Java, we have discussed means the way arrays are declared. Then after that, passing arrays to the methods we have seen the enhanced for loop. Then variable length arguments. When you're passing, it is possible to pass variable length arguments to a method. So in that case, the array will be created dynamically and the values will be stored. So these are all things we had been discussing in the last few classes. So today we will discuss about the two-dimensional arrays, how the two-dimensional arrays are created. So when you want to declare, when you want to use a two-dimensional array, so this is how is the syntax. So the syntax here is the data type and the two brackets here, then the array name. So the data type and the two brackets we need to mean the single bracket represents a single dimensional array, and the multiple brackets means more than one bracket uh, will be used for the double dimensional array. So the data type, the two brackets, the array name here, and array name is equals to new data type of size 1 comma size 2. So if you are giving size 1 comma size 2, then these two the array will be created, and we can use that array. So just a second, it's a small disturbance from my side. Well, I'm sorry for that. Now it is the way. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you
Yes,
see the
sir.
screen
Yes,
also?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now the data type two brackets will be used. The array reference name, then the uh, new data size of size 1 comma size 2. Now if you look at a program here, so this is how we are going to declare a two-dimensional array. So in two-dimensional array, some td is equals to a new int of 4 comma 5, means an array of size 4 and 5 will be declared. Then you have three variables, I, j, and k is initialized to 0 initially, and phi is same. From here also all the C stuff only. Whatever we are using here is all C stuff. So two for loops are there. One is outer for loop and inner for loop. And in the inner for loop, so I'm just assigning the values. So TD of 0 comma 0 will be assigned to 0. Then k plus plus it becomes 1. Next time 0 1 will be assigned with 1. 0 2 will be assigned with 2. 0 3 is assigned with 3, and 4, like that, so on. After that, just I'm displaying it. Then when I display also, if you want to display it in some matrix format, it will be displayed. Okay. Just what you need to learn here is how to declare a two-dimensional array. So in case of C language, you used to do it simply like this. Say in some TD of 4 5. So when I say NCD of 2 4 5, so in C it is the array is created in case of C. Okay, this is C syntax. But in case of Java, so you have to again use the new operator, then you need to declare an array. Then the rest all, once it is declared, the rest of usage is as we have done in C, the same way you can use it. Okay, just let me execute the program and show you what is done here. It is. So because those respective values have been assigned, those are been displayed there. That's nothing special in there. Those all values will be displayed. Okay. Now, what is interesting to learn about the two-dimensional arrays is you can create. It's possible to create each array in two-dimensional array of different size. Now, previously in this example, the one which we have seen just now is all the arrays. So 2D arrays is actually an array of single dimensional array. Means each row will be having 5 elements, right? But what we can do here is we can create an array of different sizes. Means each single dimensional array will be of different sizes. So like for example, it is given here that I can say int a of new int of 3 and the bracket is left. The second bracket is left without any dimension there. Then what we can do here is you can say array a of 0 is equals to a new int of 3. Then first row will be of size 3. Then we can have a second row of size 1. Okay, new int of 2. Then second row will be of size 2, and the third row is of size 3. Sorry, size 4 there. Like I have mentioned here. So when I say of 0 is equals to new int of 3, of 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 will be created. So here some typing mistakes. So it is 0, 0. Then int of 1 will be of 1, 0, 1, 1. And int of 2 will be int of 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. Like that the array will be created. Okay, so this is actually possible in Java, where we can create two-dimensional arrays of different sizes there. So generally they are called as ragged arrays. So the ragged arrays concept is also there in C language, but it is only applicable to character arrays. So if you might have remembered that we have done a program regarding ragged arrays, where if you want to store strings of different sizes without wasting the memory, we created a ragged array and then we have stored the strings. But in case of other data types other than strings in C, it is not possible. Means you cannot create ragged arrays for integers, you cannot create it for float or double. But whereas in case of Java, for any data type, what you can do here is you can create a ragged array where each single array will be of different sizes. So let me show you an example also, and also remember that as if the single dimensional arrays, the double dimensional arrays is also assigned with zeros by default. Okay, so like single dimensional arrays which are assigned with zeros, the two dimensional arrays will be also assigned with, okay, they are assigned with zeros. So here see a two dimensional array is equals to new int of 4 and the second bracket is left empty. Then the first row is of size 1, the second row is of size 2, the third row is of size 8, and the fourth row is of size 4. So just to show you, I have taken randomly some numbers and I have created an array. Then for I is equals to 0, I less than 2d dot length. Okay, for each C, the length of each row will be different now. The length of each two-dimensional arrays row will be different there. 2d dot length. Okay. I plus plus, so display 2d of I. Display 2d of I. Now I'm passing the array to a method. So here see, the single means each single dimensional array is passed to a method there. Then this I am displaying here because p.length. Now what happens here is all zeros will be displayed. All zeros will be displayed. So just look at the exam output of this program. Here it is. First row is 0, 1. Second row is of 2 size. Third row is of 8 size, and fourth row is of size 4. So 4 different arrays with 4 different sizes will be created. So this is something new thing, new concept which is introduced in Java. Okay, understood everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we'll move on to the next topic now. The next topic is about means it is the simple topics. One or two simple topics are there. We'll discuss now. The other thing here is about the character means how the character values are being stored. See here, 2 characters are declared, and then I'm saying ch1 is equals to 88. 88. It is actually a ASCII value of x. ASCII value of capital X is 88. So what you can do here is you can directly assign a numeric ASCII value to a character variable. Then as per the value which is given here, the respective code will be respective character will be stored. So ASCII value of x is 88. Directly I'm assigning 88 there. Then it will display x here. And the other way, this is the C stuff. Actually, in C language, we used to assign the character variables like this. Okay, so either way you can do. I can assign it with a number, and I can assign it with a direct character variable. Then, if you see the output, you can see the output. Then, see here, int x. Though it is assigned with 88, now it is displayed as x here, and y, of course, it is directly assigned with the value, y, so it is displaying it as y. Now, somebody may ask, may think, sir, how to print the ASCII value of that. So, if I typecast this, so typecasting is also possible in case of Java. So, if I typecast it like this, then see the typecasted value means in the integer form they are being displayed. 88 and 8, and the ASCII values have been displayed here. So either you can typecast them to display the means what is the integer value of a particular character, or if you directly give it like this, then it is going to display the respective character there. Okay. Then another example is also there under this. Is so the character variables generally behave like integers. They behave like integers. In the behaving like integers means you can use operators, the arithmetic operators also, some arithmetic operators on the character variables. Now, so for example, char ch is assigned with x. Then the ASCII value is 88. Now what I am doing here, okay, this stuff is something where I am going to just display the ch1, then x is displayed. Now what I am doing here is ch1 plus plus, I am incrementing. So I am using the increment operator on a character variable. So this is possible now. An increment operator is used on a character variable. Then what happens here is the ASCII value will be incremented. It becomes 89, and next time if I print here, then it will display y. instead of means X, it is displayed because the ASCII value has been incremented here. Okay, the next what you can do here, you can do it like this. So if you want to display all the characters, no, ch1 is equals to 97, ch1 less than or equal to 122, ch1 plus plus. So I have taken these values is all the lowercase letters will start from 97 and they end with 192. So all the letters will be displayed. So I'm not assigning a character here, directly I'm assigning a number and I'm trying to display them. Then if you see output, see here, ch1 contains X, then ch1 after incrementing, now it contains Y. Then I displayed the all the characters from 97 to 122. All the small letters have been displayed. All the lowercase letters have been displayed here. Okay. So what we have to learn here is you can assign directly ASCII values to the characters. That is one concept which you have learned here. The other concept is you can use the integer means the increment operators also here, so which will increase the ASCII value and the respective character will be stored in the variable. So that's what the new things we have learned in this concept. Okay. So next is the console output formatting. So what you can do here is somebody might have been missing printf in C, because you may be thinking, why don't Java has printf? So need not worry about that. Those are missing printf. So Java has printf too. You can use the printf. Okay. So one thing is when I learned when I learned Java long back, there was no printf in Java. But in the later versions, the printf method is also introduced. Now, as if we have used in the case of C, the same can be used in case of Java also. So system.out of printf, not directly we can use printf, we can use it as system.out.printf is the method is used to format the output. So the same way you can give the formatting specifiers. You have %b for the Boolean value, okay, whether it is true or false. Then you have %c for a character, %d for the decimal integer, %f for the floating point number, %e for the standard scientific notation, and %s for strings here. Okay, then you can format the output like this also. You have %5c, output the characters, adding 4 spaces before the character item. Means if you want to print a character, and if you want to have a space, then you can go for like this. So for example, just now we have seen the here. What I can do here is printf %c comma ch1. Like you are using in C, I can use it like this. Now see the difference now. So all are displayed without any spaces. Okay, now if I use %sum 4c, so there will be 4 spaces which are left between the two characters. Means before printing a character, it will add 4 spaces. Now, so after adding 4 spaces, the output will be in this form. Oh, here it is. So like this way, you can format the output. Okay. Then you have %6b. If you output the Boolean value and add 1 space before the false and 2 spaces before the true value. Means if you want to have spaces before true or false, because the values will be displayed as true or false. I will show you. Then you can if you want to have a space, you can go for it. Then you have percentage 5D. You know that from between two numbers will be assigned with at least 5 width of 5. The integer item, it will output the integer item with the width of 5 here. If the number of digits is less than 5 digits, it's add spaces before the number. Means if it is of a number which is less than 5 digits, then it will add space before 5 digits. If the number is greater than 5, the width is automatically increased. Then you have percentage 10.2f means 10 characters while outputting. In that, after decimal point, you will have 2 spaces. The width of the entire number will be of 10, including the decimal point. Means before decimal point, we will have 7 digits, and after decimal point, we will have 2 digits. Okay. Then you have percentage 10.2e also. It is also used for the floating point item. Then the width of the at least is 10 here, 2 digits after the decimal point and the exponent part. Okay. So it is displayed in the scientific notation, and then percentage 12s is used for the strings here. Okay. Then we can have a program where console output formatting is shown. See here, we have double x is equals to 2.0 by 3. 2.0 by 3. Now see here one thing. So if I display x here, so we'll go step by step. Okay, so before see here, I assigned x with 2.0 by 3. 2.0 by 3 will be 6.66666 like that. It will continue. So what will be the output here? Here it is 0.66666 like that. It is going to continue. Okay. Then if I want only 2 decimal places after that. So if I want 2 decimal spaces after that, then this is the way. This is the way. So we have to typecast this. So x into 100, we have to multiply x with 100. So when I multiply x with 100, so here I will get 66.6666. And in that I am taking only integer part. In that I am taking only integer part. Integer part if I take, then it will be 66. Again 66 by 100 will be 0.66. It is mathematical stuff here. Just to print it in the means confining it to 2 decimal places. And here it is. Up to 2 decimal places it is 0.66. Means if you are not having this 4.2f, we have to do all this stuff here. And to avoid that, if you try to display it using percentage f and percentage v, the respective operation means it is going to display in the respective form. But when you are using 4.2f, then directly we are specifying that after decimal point we should have only 2 spaces, 2 digits, and then totally 4 out of 4, 1 is for decimal point, and 2 for after decimal point, and 1 for before decimal point. Then if I have it, see the output now. .666 means if you are using percentage f, it is like this 0.666667. And if you are using percentage e, the scientific notation, it is displayed as 6.666667 e to the power of, means e is 0 minus 1. That is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 1. Then if I'm using it 4.2f, then I'm going to directly get it like this. This is all the formatting stuff. In whatever way you want, you can use it. Then you have the other methods. I mean, other things also been this used here. I can use /n. I can use this %d, %d a comma b. The numbers have been displayed. Then using in for loop also you can use %d. Then here you don't find any space, but here when you're using %5d, you will have a space. So this is all C programming. Only thing here is there you used to write only printf. Now what you are writing here, system.out.printf. That's it. And finally, if I want to have Boolean value to be displayed, A and B. When I say A and B, okay, because both are positive values, you are going to get true. So here you are using %b format specifier, then true is displayed. So let us see that. Here it is. So if you are not using only %d, then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is displayed. But when you are using %5d, there is a space between the numbers. Okay, then finally A and B true is displayed. Got it? So what you can do now is you can have the this formatting console output formatting format specifier. So you can use along with the printf to display the values. Okay. And then we have the conversion. This is about converting the values from one data type to another data type. So I assigned it with byte b values display is assigned. Then you have integer I, which is assigned to 257. Now conversion of integer into byte. You know that if you remember that you have the byte data type also, which will have only the range from -128 to +127. Okay, now if you want to convert this integer 257 into byte, you can write it like this: b is equals to byte of I. So when I say byte of I, then what happens here is I will be converted into byte data type, equivalent byte value, and it is displayed. So 257 will be converted into byte equivalent value and it is displayed. Then if I want only the integer portion of d here, I can go for int of d, then only 323 will be assigned to I. Then if I say byte of d, then 323 is taken, the integer portion, which will again be converted into byte value into b, and then it is displayed. So let me execute it and show you. Here it is. So I is 257, which is given. Its byte equivalent is 1. Its byte equivalent is 1. And D is 323.142. And if I'm taking only integer part, it is displayed as 323. And then the conversion of byte to double to byte. So 323 integer part is again taken and its byte equivalent is 67 and it is displayed. So this is all stuff why I have chosen to explain you here is to show you that we can have the typecasting where one data type can be converted into another data type as per the rules which are mentioned. Okay. And then we have so any doubt regarding this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Sir.
Okay. So we have finished this. Yes, yes. So there are some programs which are written. So there is a math class which will take time. I will just postpone it to the next class. So it has a lot of functions to discuss. This I will discuss in the next class. So let us see some programs and we will conclude the class. So the next program will be let's see sum of n different numbers. A program to find the sum of n different numbers. Here I am taking the scanner object. First importing the scanner class, then I am taking the scanner object, then I am asking the user how many numbers you want to add. Okay, so first the user is specifying how many numbers you want to add, then we are assigning sum with 0, and each time when I am scanning a new number, I am directly assigning it to the sum. This is all the C program. Okay, I am not going to the logic here because logics all you have learned already in C. What we are doing here is you are just entering a number, immediately the number is entered. So for example, first number is entered as 10, then sum plus is equals to number, means sum is already containing 0, 0 plus 10, 10. For second number, if I entered 5, then 10 plus 5, 15. Then third number, if I entered as 2, then 15 plus 2, 17. Fourth number, like that, how many numbers you want, you can add, and then simply you can display the sum here. So you for practice purpose, whatever the C programs we have there, all C programs, please try to convert them into Java programs. How many numbers you want to add? I want to add 5 numbers. What are those? 2, 5, 8, 7, 4. Sum of numbers is 26. That's it. A simple program, we can write it. Okay, so that is one program. Then we have so here this is a program to check whether a given number is prime or not. So I am passing the numbers at command prompt. So if pass.length is equals to 0, if I am not passing anything, then it is simply saying system.out.println usage it is telling. You have to give it as Java check prime number. Means for example, here it is. So check prime, and if I am pressing enter, then it is saying usage is Java check prime and give some number there. Now if I give some number here, some 25, then it will display not prime. And if I say something 29, then it will say prime. So the prime numbers logic is being used here. First of all, you need to convert the given string into integer. That's why I'm using parse int here. So at args.0, you are giving some number. Say example 29 you are giving here. So 29 is actually, it is not a number, it is a string. It is converted into number. Then you have int I count is equals to 0. This is all the C logic which you are using. So you're starting with 2, and then I'm trying to divide the number up to half of that number, because we know that we learned in C that the last but one factor of any number will be either half of the number or less than that number, but not greater than the half of that number. So up to half of the number I am looking for any factor, because one and itself are factors. Anyhow, we learned this logic that one and itself are anyhow factors of a number. So 29 divided by 2, 29 divided by 3, like that it will continue up to half of 29 is 14. 14.5, 14, up to 14 it will continue. And if the count is 0, sorry, if the count remains 0, then it will display prime, otherwise it is not a prime. So this logic already we have learned in C language. Next, and this is also the same for prime numbers. Here I am using the scanner class. So to print first n prime numbers, if I want to print first n prime numbers, Java, first you compile this. After this, if you run it, sorry. How many numbers? How many prime numbers you want to print? Means how many numbers you want? So I want first 50 prime numbers, and here it is. The first 50 prime numbers are being displayed. So if I ask first 500 prime numbers, these are the first 500 prime numbers for us. What the logic we are using here? Let us see. First, I am asking for how many numbers I want. Then I am passing that number to a method called prime in main. So just scan a number, then I am passing. So either 50 or let's say 5. N is 5. Then first 5 prime numbers. So I want to print first 5 prime numbers. Then want first 5 prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 are the first 5 prime numbers. Now it is going now to this prime method. So in prime method, count is 0, number is assigned to 2. Why we are assigning number to 2 here is because the prime number starts with 2. Then while count less than number, because this particular loop is going to check see for see the count of the numbers, means how many numbers have been printed. It will look after this one. Now then, if E is prime of number, there is another method which is written here. Is prime means E is prime of number. It is equivalent. If you write E is prime of number, or if you write E is prime of number equal to true, both are same. You are just writing E is prime of number, because E is prime method here, if you observe, it is going to return a Boolean value. It is going to return a Boolean value. When it means if it is returning Boolean value, in the sense it can return either true or false. So if it is returning true, then you are displaying that number. You are displaying the number, and then you are incrementing the count. If it is returning false, you are not incrementing the count, you are just incrementing the number. So first time, for example, 2 is there, it will check is prime of number, means is prime of 2. Obviously you are going to get true. What will happen here, we will check out that, but 2 is a prime number, then obviously the true value will be returned. Then 2 will be displayed, count will be incremented to 1. So 1 less than 5 is true, again 3 is passed, again it is true, then 3 is displayed, count is incremented to 2. Then 2 less than 5 is true, then is prime of 4, then it will return false. Then when it return false, it comes to the numbers, and number become 5. Then again is like that it will continue. And here see the same logic. Just now we have seen the logic here, previous logic. If number percentage I is equals to 2 is equals to 0, means other than 1 and itself, if any other factor is found, then it is returning false. Otherwise, if no factor is found between the 2 and half of that number, it is going to return true. Okay, just you work out on this logic, you will understand. So already we have learned this logic, so I'm not going into details. Already I have covered means most of the portion. So how it is going to work, you can see, and then you can understand what is happening here. Okay, so that is about displaying the prime numbers. So then we are left with the math class. You have a math class where it has a number of methods which are available for us. You can you have see these are all methods, how these methods are actually going to help us uh, in our programming. This I will cover in the next class. So after next class, remember that we will be going into actual object-oriented programming, where we are going to create classes, we are going to create methods, then we are going to uh, overload the methods, then every day new concept like constructors, overloading the constructors, object references, all this stuff we are going to learn in the coming class. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Just
Thank you, sir.
stay back, everyone.